Here with Melissa Tidrick, who lives in Knoxville, Tennessee, and she's been wearing a bangle for a couple of years, and so we'd like to hear, in her own words, her observation.
The minute I put the bangle on, I knew that this was for me, and I just think that there's a knowing because you can feel the energy. And I was at the time extremely depressed, and it lifted that mood immediately.
What did you feel when you put it on the first time? And you said you felt depression and it lightened, but...
Absolutely, a boost in energy, a boost in mood. It's kind of beginning or feeling that immediate difference in the glass half full and the glass half empty. The glass immediately felt half full.
Right.
So there was a definite shift in my own.
Do you think you were
feelings.
going? Do you think you expected to feel something when you put it on, or?
No, I didn't, because as much as I am interested in frequency and even just wireless internet, I didn't anticipate that, and if anything, I thought it would be gradual.
2 years is a long time, and perhaps you've got a few anecdotal stories you can tell that may be common to other people's experiences too, but I'd just like to hear them.
I think for me personally, the most special was my first grandchild. A little boy was born, and he seems to have gravitated to it immediately just from birth. He relaxed and calmed as I held him. He has since, as he's growing older and more observant of his world, he loves to touch and feel and move around the stones. And he seems to have an understanding that there's definitely something, for the best word for me, sacred about it.
But doesn't he relax and be calm in other people's arms when he's held as well?
Well, he's a good little boy, and yes, he does. But there are some times when anybody's child and everybody's child just doesn't settle.
Yeah.
And especially if she leaves him, I get to babysit. And he's kind of upset that mommy's not there and daddy's not there. It's always a draw. I can always put him up and
so his head touches the bangle, or his arms do?
His head touches the bangle. He will lean his head in, and he never minds that it's pressing up against him.
Really?
He likes to put his head there, and I notice a definite calming.
Sure. I definitely think that babies are just fresh from the astral. And a lot of people might think that they're just first time here, first time on the journey, and there's faculties that they bring with them that are greatly dampened and forgotten as they get older. And we've observed young babies really liking the crystal and their energies and colors.
I've traveled through many emotional things in my life in the last 2 years, so it's had a powerful impact on me and my reaching for it. I felt often when I wear it like a warrior, and that I have the strength of a warrior, and the energy of a warrior. I also notice I'm a flight attendant, and I have to go through security, so I'm often taking it off. So I don't know, this was about 8 months ago. I decided at the hotel to take it off, and less taking on and off, and then once I get to the airplane I'd put it back on. And it wasn't that I noticed it that much, I just noticed that for me in my career, things have a way of moving pretty smoothly. They're pretty common and typical. And things were just off that day. The energy seemed off, I felt a little off, and I did the typical thing when I feel like I would like to relax or take a breath. I reach for it to hold it. And I began kind of a body relaxation. I realized it wasn't on. And so, of course, for me, immediately, it was like, well, of course. Whether it's the glass half full or half empty, the glass felt half empty. When I put it back on, I then feel like the glass is half full.
You mentioned warrior, but I'd just like to get some clarity on that. I mean, it wasn't that you went out in a let's challenge or attack the world. It was more about you had a, I'm assuming this, it's more about, even though lots of things are being thrown at you, you were very easily capable of just calmly dealing with them without any pose of threat because you're worried. Would that be the right way of putting it?
It would, and it's an inner strength, an inner feeling of energy, and that the strength comes from within. I began to feel less of that vulnerability, and that I could go forth and not feel so vulnerable in my environment.
What's happened with that pattern of depression that you suffered from?
It's better and better and better. And I can't imagine that I would feel that level of depression again. On the 1 to 10 scale, 10 being worse, I was living within a 7 to 10. And I would have to say, on average, I mean, I have the typical things, the worries of an aging mother and these work events or whatnot. And yet, I would say for the most part, I stay within a 3 to 5 and can go a little 4 to 6. But I'm not ever reaching that 7 to 10.
Have you ever taken it off for a period of time, like a week or so or anything in the last couple of years?
Wouldn't consider it.
Really?
Not a chance, no.
Okay. I was hoping you'd say yes, because tangibly the observer could say, okay, well, that's a scientific kind of thing, but you haven't taken it off because you've been so convinced by its abilities to improve your life quality that what's the point? That's sort of the attitude you have, I presume.
Well, it's like drinking water. I mean, I could go long periods and not drink water, and yet I just don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
And so, yes, I could take it off, but I don't know that I personally am not scientifically trying to prove anything.
Yeah, right, unlike me.
There are different gauges of interest. And it's almost when someone lines up with the similar frequency or energy of the bangle, you can kind of recognize it, and then I'm willing to discuss it further and talk about it. And other than that, I kind of give a very pat answer, or even just say thank you, to the compliment. So there is a difference. You can tell immediately.
Yeah, I mean, in the 30 years that I've been selling crystal-based gem bangles or jewelry, there's this huge shift moving towards recognition of that influence as being beneficial. It's still very small throughout society, and it's probably more widely recognized in California than, say, Tennessee, I would think. And I hope I'm not crossing state lines.
Oh, no. But what's so interesting is I think it's Arkansas, actually. There's a crystal mine.
Yeah, there is.
And you can enter and get buckets and fill it up. So, us Southerners have some crystal knowledge.
But the mine's there. I mean, they're going to sell them somehow. Yeah, but you're right. They're beautiful crystals there,
I have, of course, multiple time zones that I travel in monthly or even weekly in a different time zone, and back through a couple. And I noticed that I also feel that it helps me regulate my own sleep cycle.
Right.
So I get back on schedule a little faster. And
Really?
I've been doing this job for 35 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting that much younger.
Yeah.
And I notice a difference from, say, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it also helps my rhythm of sleep.
Right, getting over jet lag.
Exactly.
And then reintegrating. Interesting.
Absolutely.
Well, that's really great. Thank you very much for that feedback.
Well, it was a pleasure.
Great.
Thank you.